All right, what's going on, good people? So this golden age of collecting has been upon us and it's been great. But the thing is, could it be on life support? In the next coming months, could the great days of collecting be over? Let's have a talk about it. All right, now this is a MainOneCollector video. And if you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe. It helps me grow the channel and I appreciate it greatly. Now, I hate to be that guy to be screaming, "Oh my God, the sky is falling." But, I think we do have a critical issue that, is going to affect our collecting circles. All right, so now let's dive in this. Let's chat about a word that has been on the lips of everyone of late. It's called tariffs. It's a hot and polarizing word lately, and I really wasn't going to address this with a video, but it is a major collecting issue and it will affect how the collecting community buys their merchandise. We are currently in a trade war with various countries and tariffs being levied big time. 1 minute they're out there, then they're being raised, then they're canceled, then paused, then raised again, and it's kind of like a wacky quagmire. So a lot of the collectible companies are in a bind on how to proceed going forward. Some companies are staying pat for now and not raising prices, and a few are getting ahead of it. Big Bad Toy Store is getting ahead of it now. We've already seen an uptick in pricing on all the pre-orders from Big Bad, and they released this statement basically stating that items on pre-order could see a surcharge of 15 to 40% of the pre-order price, ultimately when a tariff is raised or issued. So now that tariff fee is the responsibility of the company that's receiving the goods. So some companies with big pockets, they might be able to absorb the fee for a short time, like maybe Amazon, but ultimately it will be passed on to the consumer. Now, Big Bad Toy Store also stated that if a tariff is taken away or lowered, they will act accordingly and they will be working with their various vendors, that they get their products from to see if they can negotiate and see if they can get those prices down a little bit so, it won't hurt as much. Now, with Hasbro, we saw an uptick in that Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire figure, by a few bucks, but I didn't know if that was related to tariffs or if that was, the Spider-Man tax that we usually see on certain figures. And with anticipation of the tariffs, Hasbro and Mattel stock prices have taken a horrible downturn of late. Now, some of these companies are being really innovative with their approach to the tariff situation. As of April 10th, tech giant Apple chartered a bunch of cargo planes to import 600 tons of iPhones. That's roughly 1.5 million. That, folks, is a lot of iPhones. And they flew these phones into the US from India after stepping up production in all their factories, in an effort to get ahead of these tariffs. So with that massive shipment, the US should be flushing iPhones for at least until the end of the summer. And since it seems that most of the heavy tariffs are being levied against China, a lot of companies are exploring other countries like India in order to shift production to try to ease that tariff burden. Now, I've also seen that Nintendo, they delayed the pre-orders on their Switch 2. And, I was really looking forward to that. My son's looking forward to that, to try to figure out this tariff situation. And even Nike, your sneakers, they're going on record saying that they will be bringing less sneakers to the US and focus more on global markets, within other countries. Right now, it's no official tag on it, but we really are in a golden age of collecting. If you're a toy collector, I've seen so many IPs that I thought I would never see get made into a toy or a figure. And lately we've been getting 1/6 scale, 1/12 scale vehicles. Some stuff I thought I would never see. I have a 1/6 scale DeLorean. I love that Back to the Future piece, is great. But I never, ever thought in my wildest dreams as a kid I would see something like that get made. As a kid, the biggest toy I ever saw up close was the USS Flag, which to this day is still a grail piece for me. And if I ever have space, I'm gonna pick it up. You know, things are being made left and right, and if a movie or cartoon is being made, you know, the next question is, how can we profit and how can we make figures off it? You know, it's a collector's cornucopia, and you know, we're living it, you know. So naturally my collecting gene is worried about the tariffs raising prices, you know, and I see it as a cascade effect. Some upper echelon collectors with heavy pockets, you know, they'll eat that price easily. You know, others will become much more choosy about what they purchase with their wallet. So now with less product being purchased, you know, companies will scale back on development of figures or toys that they're making. So we will definitely see less being released, and you know, they might not want to take a chance on a obscure figure, you know, for fears that, you know, it will sit on the shelf and just won't move. And I can tell you, I for one am not looking forward to paying $270 for a 6-figure set of Hasbro figures. You know, eggs and avocados versus new Marvel Legends, you know, the choice is gonna be easy. You know, I would definitely have to fall back, and I guess in the US we're finally gonna feel what, you know, Australians and Canadians feel price-wise with their pursuit of this hobby of ours. And then I think about the mom and pop collectible shops, you know, that I like to frequent from time to time. How is this going to affect them? You know, their sales, their bottom line, and will they be able to keep their doors open? You know, well, you know, thanks for listening. I just wanted to rant a little bit about that. You know, let me know in the comments if, you know, this is going to affect your collecting habits. And please, no politics in the comments. This is about the collecting people. That's it. Well, that's my time. Until next time, watch my next video. MainOneCollector out.